We had two flights that day that were hijacked. It was the flight out of Boston, Flight 11, and our flight out of Washington Dulles, which was my crew, Flight 77, going to LA. I got a call from dispatch and said our best information is Flight 77 has hit the World Trade Center. I was getting constant calls from dispatch and shoot the line with my boss, who was in headquarters in Dallas. And we quickly identified that the captain, who I'd known for 26 years on Flight 77, was married, and the first officer was not. So we said, okay, the next of kin are the wife and the parents. We quickly had to dig for the parents' telephone numbers, but we were able to settle them in 5 or 10 intense, chaotic minutes. He said, you need to call them right away. Those were orders in a military way. I remember not being that comfortable calling the next of kin on the phone in that kind of situation with so much confusion and so much chaos that I knew that we really didn't have it right, completely right. And I felt it's going to take a while to get it right. And do you give them a piece of a story? What do you tell them? But it was an order. And I came from basically above my boss to say, you need to call those people. Almost coincidental, two policemen came in, operations said, we're evacuating the airport, everybody leave right now. And I knew one of the guys, and I turned to my administrator and said, please get people together, reach out to the pilots that are in the ops building, and you start the process. I got to make these calls. And as they left the office area, the cop was standing in my doorway waiting for me to leave. And I said, not going anywhere. Didn't know the guy's name, but I said, I've got to make 2 calls. So I made the 2 calls. I edited them to what I was comfortable with. I said, we have 2 airplanes that we can't account for. And one of them, David was on when he was a co-pilot, or chick, as I was talking to the wife. I'm in the process of being evacuated from National Airport. As soon as I can put this together, I will put it together and get back with you with the best information I have. And it may be a while because I don't know where I'm going from here. Trust me, and I'll get back with you. And I'm sorry. With that, I caught up with my flight attendant team, and they took us across the hill at National Airport in an old railroad culvert. As the one airplane that was still up was the Shanksville airplane, and they really didn't have a handle on what the target was. They knew it was heading, generally speaking, to Washington. So we waited there for a long while, and all the while, my car's right across the street, and I'm thinking, I need to get in my car and get out to, my one job was to get with the families and get some information. I didn't want them to hear information from TV and put 2 and 2 together. I wanted the information to come from me. And I hadn't given them that much other than, here's the best that we've got, and basically Chick and David were on those airplanes. One of the flight attendants, coincidentally, was a good friend. We'd been to dinner. She and her husband at their home in Bethesda like 2 weeks before, and he was a U.S. Air Captain. So I knew Michelle was on the airplane. That carried its own weight for me. But they were all friends. I knew them all. So at some point in time, I walked up to the cops who were standing between us and the airport. And I said, I'm going to get my car. And I said, it's been a half hour. I said, I haven't gotten much information because cell phones are down, but I know things have progressed to the point that we don't have any handle on this, and I got to get my car and get out of here. So they let me go. I went home first to get on the landline and call my boss so that I could get the most current information, which I did. I settled and went out to the families and told them that. Then my job became, as as much a bereavement officer's job in the military. It was touching base with the families, making sure they got all the information they needed, being the connect point with the airline for them. And to the FBI, I got involved with the FBI in their interpretation of the flight track as we went through. I got involved with airport management as we sat down and considered in a very vulnerable time and one that was still very sensitive to a lot of people, how we were going to reopen National Airport and when we could reopen it, under what circumstances, under what flight procedures and policies. So there was a lot that started coming from the general, dictates, umbrella, requirements of my job.
So in the time when this national tragedy happened that was so invasive and so painful to the nation, you not only had your own airline to represent, but you also had become closely connected to all elements of National Airport because of the new design that you made of the chief pilot's job. You became someone important on a much larger scale than the average chief pilot for the airline. You created a job that made you highly interactive with all elements of your industry, not just your airline. And at a time when the nation was in such great need, you became one of the people that were able to fulfill the needs, to help, to make a difference. That's quite a remarkable transition.
Well, I think that the reason I got to where I got, and part of my need to put that chief pilot role out into other departments, interact, is always been a strong belief in teams and my need to align with teams. When you get with an organization and you like to be in an organization, you want to see that organization succeed, function well. And it doesn't mean that you're the leader of that organization. It just means that within whatever role you're playing in that organization, you're going to do your best, and you're going to hopefully widen your focus out so that you can help others do their best, so that the team operates to the best of its functioning ability. Do that in as vigorous a way as I could.